Hey, this is Big Dream with Liz, and I'm making a video based on my audience request from my last video, where I asked for feedback and if whatever you guys wanted to hear about. And I had one request for how to overcome mental roadblocks. So I decided to make a video about it. And I'm wearing my Dream Big shirt by Zaya Activewear. My friend from high school sells their line of clothing, and my whole entire outfit is from there. I am not getting paid to promote it or advertise. I just happen to be wearing all of it, so I figured I'd mention it. Really good leggings, by the way. Okay, so I feel like the first thing that comes to mind for overcoming mental roadblocks for me is fear. So fear is huge in my life. I'm assuming that is a common thing for everybody. We all experience fear in some area of our lives at one point or another. And some let it get into our head a little more than others, possibly. For me, it's been a struggle my entire life. I have always worried about my health and recently have had more health issues, so I feel like I somehow brought it into my life in a sense. So for me, I don't know where it came from, but when I was little, I've had this fear. It's actually a phobia called emetophobia. It's a fear of vomiting. Sorry, a trigger for anybody else who has it. Trigger word. I've gone to counseling for it. I do nightly meditations to fall asleep to, and I've done one specifically regarding fear and phobias, and it has gotten a lot better, but it still is something I battle with my entire life. Hoping it won't be too bad for the rest of my life, but it's a process trying to get over it. So, but the overall generalized anxiety and fear in my life has been their social anxiety and fear of what other people think of me, fear of criticism, fear of rejection, fear of everything similar to those things. I feel like I'm finally getting to a place where I know that I have more trust in God / the universe / source / divine, whatever you want to call it. Higher power. I feel like I have seen results now where me surrendering or letting go of a specific fear about a decision that I need to make in life, going one way or the other, and you can weigh it out in your mind like, oh, if I go this way, this might happen. If I go this way, this might happen, but you can't see everything. So what I have noticed is that the pain of loss of people in my life has been for the best. I have learned a lot from the people that I have known in my life, and a lot of them have not been there forever. But I also have had people come back into my life later that has been a huge blessing that I wasn't expecting, And social media is really good for those kinds of reunions. So I feel a lot more trusting now that if I make a decision, there will be blessings, especially if I feel I'm making the right decision at the time for my sanity, for my overall health, mental or physical or whatever. All that stuff is connected. But I am now realizing the good that can come from loss, I guess. That sounds a little harsh, but for me, mental roadblocks have been self-induced fears. I'm creating scenarios in my mind that are not necessarily the case, that may not actually happen. So I started thinking about the emetophobia. I haven't thrown up since the 3rd grade, knock on wood. I don't even think this is real wood, but yeah, and I haven't thrown up since 3rd grade, but I've somehow avoided it this whole time. But that has been a lot of fear-based decisions trying to avoid it, keeping me stuck in life, keeping me in one place. I have wanted to see the world since I was little, or since I was a teen or young adult, probably. I really started getting the desire to see what else is out there. And I have only been to Dominica, which is in the Caribbean, not Dominican Republic. It's a little different. And that was a trip when I was 18 through Teen Missions International, and it was a church-oriented group, religious organization, but it was overall a very good experience for me. However, I got married really young too, and I'm not still married to that person, but I didn't end up doing what I originally thought I would do, because I kind of got into the working thing, just working jobs to make ends meet, and I really didn't chase my big dreams. So things got put on the back burner, and now here we are. I have still not really traveled. I've been to some states, I haven't been to all the states in the US. I have barely traveled outside of the US, and I'm getting older. So, but the fear of traveling to third world countries, you hear about even people get vaccinated to go to these different countries because you have more of a chance of contracting illness, and from food and water and just illnesses in general. So I have let that fear stop me from going to pretty extreme places, but I haven't even been anywhere, life kind of caught up with me. So this is the kind of thing that I'm exploring now as I'm starting this business, and it's part of my big vision, to have more of a worldwide reach, and not just staying home where I'm living now. Like, I would love to travel and explore and meet people of all different cultures and try all the food and see the beauty that exists everywhere else. There's beauty everywhere in all different forms, and I just want to experience all that there is to experience, really, without fear. And that is part of the struggle. The struggle is real. I am stuck in my own mind thinking what the worst case scenario is that could happen if I go to a place, and if I will have the help needed if something bad were to happen. And not everybody that travels gets sick or has problems when they're traveling. And it depends on where you go, probably depends on a lot of factors. So I can't let that stop me. I just need to go to one place, build up to these more extreme places, I guess. But first I have to establish, I need to prepare myself to travel. And right now I'm starting this business and kind of putting everything out there. So I know a lot of other mental roadblocks would have to do with self-motivation, like fitness, people getting an exercise routine or a diet routine. Like, I don't like calling diets. It doesn't have to be a diet. You can still eat stuff that you like, but there is a thing called moderation, and it's easier for me to cut things out completely than to try to hold back and not eat as much of something, but it kind of depends on what it is. But that's another thing I know a lot of us have in common. I don't know if everyone has in common the traveling thing and fear of illness, but But mental roadblocks, the other thing for me has been fear of what people think of me. So I have not used my voice. I have not expressed my true thoughts for years. I have not expressed who I truly am, what I truly believe, and what I'm experiencing on a deeper level with most people, because I fear rejection, or I have feared rejection and criticism. I don't know where all that came from either, but I know that I've been a people pleaser in the past, but there's a deeper thing to that. Why are you a people pleaser? Because you fear rejection, you fear abandonment of others, but at what cost, Who are you pleasing? You please everyone. If you please everyone, you get taken advantage of. You get taken for granted. Your needs aren't met. If you don't stand up for yourself, and you don't voice how you really feel about something, you don't set boundaries, of course you're going to get taken advantage of. You never put it out there, your view, your thoughts. There is no chance for someone else to understand where you're coming from. Just because you fear an argument or conflict, it's not. I've had too many experiences where I feel the pain of loss, and it has nothing to do with rejection from other people. It's because I'm ignoring myself, my true. Whoa, there's a little bug there. It keeps happening. They're like attacking my eyes, my face. Or I'm just nuts and I'm thinking I'm seeing bugs, right? So now I'm off track. At what cost are you sacrificing your true self for everyone else around you? And most people, you can't keep everyone close. There's no way to keep every single person close to you. So, and why would you want to? There's only going to be a select few people who really get you on a deep level if they know you, and you may not want to let everyone in. So to put a false identity out for, the outside viewpoint of you and what you want other people to see, for me, was I'm a nice person. I'm kind, I'm giving, or self-sacrificing, and a team player, and I can cooperate, and a peacemaker. These are all words I can come up with for my self-identity in the past of who I wanted people to see me as. Oh, and funny, like I can make people laugh, and I'm the peacemaker, but I was not expressing things that bothered me or things that I needed to feel safe, secure. You can't just be somebody that you think everyone else will accept, because they won't accept you either way. Not everybody will. And so to put a false identity up front is only hurting you in the end. It does not affect other people, other than they don't know who you truly are. And that's a self-defense mechanism. So you're protecting yourself, but it's not really going to get anywhere. You're not going to go anywhere. That sounds really depressing, but I finally realized I need to express what's really going on inside, and it can be good or bad. Like we all have good and bad within us, like that you're not all rainbows and unicorns all the time. We are human. We have negative experiences that have deeply affected us since we were little. Everybody has something. And it's how you deal with those experiences over time that makes a difference. If you can get the healing that you need for the things that really bog you down over time, you will be free. You'll have freedom, and you will lose people in your life. It's normal. It's okay, because those people were there to teach you something, and they're all important. Everybody that you meet is important to teach you something about yourself, about your life, about what you really truly desire and what you need. But it is really easy to ignore the deeper calling, the true you that's crying out to be noticed, I guess. It's not about putting yourself out there to be noticed exactly, but it's about peace of mind and growth in your own sense of self. Because it can become a sickness mentally if you are holding in negative emotions, not dealing with them, grief, trauma, loss, anger, resentment. I just did a meditation to fall asleep to last night that was releasing anger and resentment. And I know most people would probably look at me and go, "You're not angry, you don't have anger." Because I don't put that out there for others to experience from me. I don't want them to identify me, Liz, with anger, right? It's not something I wanted people to see. But I think I do have anger that's been stuffed down, and the anger has to do with fear and resentment over time. Things, missed opportunities. I feel there were missed opportunities because I chose one path that may not have been the best, healthiest path for me, but obviously I chose it. It was part of my path, destiny, or whatever, to learn something huge about myself that I needed to pay attention to, that I needed to address. And it's not easy to face these things. It's not easy to face those things. But once you have that weight lifted, just addressing it, knowing that you have these negative emotions and realizing that it's okay, because if you don't face it, if you don't acknowledge that you have them, that's ignoring them. That's letting them stay in a deep, dark place, perhaps. They are getting ignored, and the emotions can fester over time. I'm beginning to believe how much negative emotions can cause physical ailments, and it's something controversial, but I really do believe in the holistic health approach, mental, emotional, physical connection, so spiritual. If we are ignoring the negative emotions that are screaming at us in different ways, it's only going to be trapped in our energy. Like we're holding on to it, and the body will express, I don't know how to explain. I just believe that's what's happening with me, or has been happening, and I am finally doing everything that I can to address that so that I can become an overall healthier individual. So, and if that creates dislikes on my video, so be it. it's controversial topic, and I'm sure, because I've thought the other way before, like, oh, physical things just happen to some of us, My Grandma Betty was the best person I've ever met in my entire life. She delivered me from my mother's womb. She was a midwife. My brother as well. She delivered both of us as newborns, and at least that's what I was told. I don't exactly remember, but she had a major impact in a positive way in he and my lives until she passed away from breast cancer in 2001, I think it was, 2002. And it was an ongoing battle, maybe 5 years, that everyone was aware of that she had this cancer. And I can't speak for her and her life as to why she had this cancer, but I can say that the beautiful soul that she expressed was very giving, and she put everything out there for everybody else around her, but she also sacrificed herself for others. And I don't want to talk bad about my grandpa, but I don't think she was in a healthy environment for a really long time, according to my dad, and I think that she had these negative emotions that were not addressed, and she was not in the healthiest place for years. So maybe she had resentment and grief and despair even of her own being in a fairly toxic environment and having her kids in this toxic environment for their youth. And I'm not saying that causes cancer, but I kind of am saying that. I just believe that there's things, negative emotions, or things about yourself that need to be healed and addressed in order to be free and be as healthy as you can be. I don't know. I'm still learning all of this, so don't take my word for it, but all this to say, the mental roadblocks, there's all kinds, and how to overcome them, you just have to be honest with yourself and how do you really feel? And it's okay to recognize that you have negative emotions, even though people tell you to just be positive, think positively, be optimistic, don't be a Debbie Downer, or whatever the male term would be for that. So, like people, oh, how are you today? Oh, I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Okay, that's what we greet each other with, and there's no honesty. Nobody wants to hear anything deeper, anything beyond, oh, I'm good. How are you? Like, it's small talk BS to me, but, at the same time, you don't want to open up too much about your personal life with the wrong people. So I get it. But my point is that negative things are not being addressed a lot of the time within yourself, and or you don't have people you trust to talk to about it. So therefore, journaling comes in handy. Physical exercise can be good, or just taking a walk in nature can be good, and consciously be aware of the thoughts that come up for you, and let yourself face it. You will be safe to, they're just thoughts, it's just memories, and the more that you can realize what's really bothering you, the better off you will be to release them. And ask for help. Maybe you don't believe in God or a higher power, but ask yourself for help, like your higher self. That's, sometimes people can relate to that better. So I hope it helps. I am still working on my own mental roadblocks, as all of us probably are, whether we want to admit that or not, because a lot of people want to put on a show for the rest of the world to see, and it's not completely honest about what's really going on a deeper level. And I'm not saying that nobody can heal, that we're always going to be struggling. No, I don't think so. I'm hoping not, at least, because the mind that I have has really struggled with anxiety, fear, and worrying about my future. I don't worry about the past as much as I worry about future events happening and what could happen and how will I deal with it. That's kind of my biggest roadblocks mentally. So trying to be grateful for what you have now, and there's always something to be grateful for, and use your imagination. One of my favorite movies to use as an example for this would be Life is Beautiful, and takes place, I guess you could say, during the Holocaust, and the guy and his son are doing their best to survive what is going on around them. The dad is making everything a game so that the little boy doesn't experience the terror that is the reality of the situation. And I'm not saying that you should ignore the reality of your situation, but that was like a very extreme picture painted of gratitude, in my opinion, and the ability of the mind, the power of the mind to create a reality despite absolute hell on earth. And it's a very extreme example, but it was very powerful when I saw that movie, and really deeply moving for me. So anyway, I guess there's always something that can bring you joy, no matter how deep and dark of a place you are in. Just go to the one thing that keeps you alive. For me, it's music. There's always a song I can put on that, and even if it brings tears streaming down my face, I believe that's therapy. It's music therapy. So, and then I love dance, so I can dance to the music, and that's not even a deeper level of expression. These days my body hurts, so I'm limited in my movement a little bit, trying to get over that, but it's a work in progress. But anyway, there's going to be something for you that is very specific to who you are and what moves you most and brings you a deep sense of peace and joy or fulfillment or purpose. And for me, it really is music. And I do have like my top songs that I can go to that help me to feel alive and give me purpose in the moment. And sometimes a moment is all you need to get through, and it'll lift your mood. But this is not, medical advice. Go get checked out if you have medical issues, mental issues. Go try to get a counselor. I used Talkspace last year when I was living by myself and going through a breakup. Actually, it was kind of a double breakup. So I had a very good counselor through Talkspace. I think they're probably pretty busy, but you have lots of options out there. And like, I wasn't meeting with someone face to face in person. It was pretty easy using text and video chats and things like that to communicate. And she gave me lots of creative activities to focus specifically on negative emotions and how to help release these things so that I can move on and heal from what it is that was truly disturbing me on a deep level. And that helped a lot. I'm still releasing things, and I didn't even know I had that many issues going on until I faced them and realized, but you don't want to be stuck dwelling on these things either. So that's where music, dance, art, nature, walks, exercise, movies, even, whatever it is for you, do the things that bring you joy, that remember what it is when you were little that you could escape with, that was healthy, and that might help you in the moment when you're really feeling stuck or having these mental roadblocks. Okay, this is a long video. It's half hour. So, yeah. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, find me on Instagram, big.dream.with.liz, and comment below if you have any other questions or concerns or comments. And as usual, I am here to help bring out the inner magic you have always had but forgot about. Talk to you guys soon.